Now, hey, what I'm going to talk about right now is Muslim claims for the Quran. And I think that it's extraordinary, some of the claims Muslims make regarding the origin, the history, the composition, and preservation of the texts of the Quran. And so, since it is so extraordinary, we've got to take a much longer look at the Quran and examine those sources more carefully. Now, Muslims claim that the Quran is perfect Arabic. Now, Muslims claim that the text of the Quran is written perfect in every respect because Allah wrote it in heaven. Now, the Shorter Encyclopedia of Islam states, and I quote, "To Muslims, the absolute perfection of the language of the Quran is an impregnable dogma." Now, whatever Allah does must be perfect. So the Quran must therefore be in perfect Arabic. You can find this claim in Surahs 12:2, 13:37, and 41:41, and then 41:44. Now, Muslims claim that the Quran, in fact, was written, or is written, on a table in heaven. It's on a stone tablet the size of a table, and it was there before it was handed down to Muhammad. Now, it's further claimed that there's no variant readings in the Quran because it's perfect. There's no lost verses, and there's no conflicting manuscripts on the text of the Quran itself. Now, at this point, Muslim apologists have pointed out that while the Bible has many conflicting readings on various texts, the Quran is perfect and thus has no variant readings. Now, Muslims also claim in confidence that there's originals that have been found. Now, these are original manuscripts of the Quran which Muhammad himself gathered and constructed, and it's still in existence, and all the Qurans come from this one single Uber manuscript. Now, no translations are allowed of the Arabic, no legitimate translations. Because the Quran is in the language of Allah, we're going to get to that later about foreign words in the Quran, but because the Quran is in the language of Allah, Muslims claim that no mortal can translate it into any other language. Now, Muslims also claim that there's nothing that compares to the Quran. According to Muslims, no one can write any literature like that found in the Quran. That's Surahs 10:37 and 10:38. Now, we have to ask ourselves, are these things true? And are they in accord with the facts? Now, I think that we have to state quite unequivocally that these things are just false. These claims are false. Whether or not there's a table in heaven, whether or not this is perfect Arabic, the question of variant readings, the question of original sources, translations, and whether or not there's anything to compare to the Quran. Okay, so what I want you to do then is join me in the next part, the next segment of this lecture, where I'm going to go ahead and begin discussing some of the scholarship that Muslims are either objecting to or wanting to suppress entirely